Hey everyone, hope you're having a great week so far. Today we are continuing on with my white Crelly polish swatchathon. We are going through the white Crelly polishes that I have in my collection. We are going to be swatching them live on camera. We're going to be talking about these polishes. I want to go through here and see what I have in my collection as far as white Crellies and just kind of see what they're like. Some of these I have worn, some of these I have not worn. I did go ahead and post part 1 of this little installment or series, so if you haven't seen that, I will list it down in the description box. We are going to be doing a couple different videos for these polishes. I have quite a few and they weren't going to fit in one video, so we're going to go ahead and move on to part 2. Hope that you guys enjoy it, so let's go ahead and get into the swatches. So we are going to start off with this polish. This is KB Shimmer's Spring Theory. I have wore this one and fell in love with it. It's been several months ago, but this is such a great white Crelly polish. Highly recommend it. This is still available on their website. It will be listed down below. But this is a white Crelly that has glitters that are green, gold, pink, purple, and silver in an array of sizes. This is a great option for a white Crelly. This is one of my favorites. I'm not super familiar with the white Crellies from KB Shimmer. This is, I think, the only one I have in my collection from them, but they are so good. I really highly recommend them. The formulas are fantastic with these. So we're going to go ahead and swatch this one. This one was a 2 to 3 coater, I believe. When I do white Crellies, I will put down a white base. Generally, a layer of a white base coat or white polish is how I like to wear my polishes. But look at these beautiful glitters in this one. You can really see those pops of color. This is absolutely a fantastic polish. Great formula. Opacity is 2 to 3 coats, one of my favorites. Next we have another Glam. I missed this in part 1, and this is going to be part of my Halloween polishes. So this one is a new to me polish. This is King of the Pumpkin Patch. This is straight up Halloween-esque in my opinion. It has like sunshine yellow, orange, and bright green glitters in an array of sizes, and then you do have some black glitters in here as well. I mentioned it in part 1, Glam polish has become one of my favorites as far as those white Crellies go. They are just really, really good quality. I love the amount of glitters she puts in these. You don't have to fish for these. They just apply beautifully. You can definitely layer these. You can, you know, put it over like a white base, like what I do, or layer it in 2 to 3 coats. So there's the first coat of King of the Pumpkin Patch. Look at the beautiful array of colors. I will say swatching on this nail wheel is throwing this off a little bit. I do know that Glam polishes are not necessarily as stark white as some other ones. You can kind of see it here. This is the KB Shimmer polish. And then Glam, you could see the base colors are not as stark white with the Glam polish Crellies, but I'm okay with that. I always put a white base down first anyway, so I am okay with that. But Glam polish Crellies are definitely by far one of my favorites. They have become a fast favorite. Next up is a Cupcake polish. This is Funfetti. This is a white Crelly with beautiful, colorful flakes. We have a rainbow effect of colors in here. One thing with this polish, I will say, I went to check this one the other day and it had turned to like this taupey nude base. I think the flakies are bleeding into the base. So if you have it, maybe haven't wore it, I would check to see if yours has stayed that crisp white base. Mine definitely didn't, and luckily I have some white nail polish pigment on hand. I added a little bit to this bottle and it brought it right back to that beautiful crisp white. I have seen where other people have talked about this polish. Krista from Restored by Polish had said hers looked to be this beigey nude base, and that's what mine was when I went and checked it after I saw her video. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work. So I did end up having to add a little bit of white nail polish pigment to this because of that issue. So it did change color over time. I've had this one for over a year. But now that I fixed it, it is a nice bright white. So that is Funfetti. Next is one of my favorites. This is ILNP's Heart to Heart. It came out in their Valentine's Day set for 2023, I believe. This is a white Crelly with purple and pink and maybe a little bit of silver metallic flakes. This is another one that is one of my favorites. I love this polish. Haven't wore it more than once. I just didn't get a chance to put this one back on, but I definitely need to do that very, very soon with this one because it is one of my favorites also. This is also a nice crisp white base. Some of these, as I said about Glam, they're not quite that crisp white base. They can have a little bit more of like a muted white base. So there is ILNP. Next is Painted Polish. This one is We Scare Because We Care. This one should have been part of the part 1 installment, but I missed it, so we're going to do it here. This is a teal and purple flaky Crelly. Very nice polish. I do believe I've wore this one as well. I think. I could be wrong on that. I went through thinking I wore this one. I thought I did, but I'm not 100% sure. This is another one that I really enjoy. The flakies come out beautifully. I don't have to fish for these. The formula is top-notch with this polish also. So there's the first coat of We Scare Because We Care from Painted Polish. And you can also see these are a nice crisp white base as well with these last three. They're a beautiful white base, and I love it. We're moving on to a couple from Rogue. I have a few here that are very, very similar in color, so we're going to swatch them side by side just to see if they have similarities or not. So I have this one. This is a Rogue Haunting. This one is part of what is going to be on my Halloween rack. So this is a white Crelly with flakes. We have orange, gold, blue, and purple flakes in here. I have not wore this one. I'm not sure what the formula is like with this one. I do know upon swatching it, it swatches beautifully and you get a lot of those flakies out. This is another one. It is a little bit more squishy, so I feel like a white base would probably benefit this polish. This is another one too that you're not going to get that stark white base. If you could see it here up against these two, you're not getting a stark white base to this at all. You almost can't even see that it has a white base, which is interesting. You're basically just getting flakies out with this one. But that is what the Rogue polish looks like. I have one very similar. This is one that was a mystery polish, I think. This is Bright Sunshine Day. This is a very similar polish to the first one. This is a white Crelly with color shifting flakes. And you've also got some scattered holographic sparkle in this one as well. So I want to put it up against that other polish. So this is what they look like. So they are not the same. The colors are totally different. I do feel like this one is brighter white than what this one is. So we'll see when we swatch this one here on the left how opaque it is. But this one does also have that beautiful holographic sparkle in here as well. I'm trying to swatch through these two to see if I want to hang on to both of them or not. I haven't worn either one, and I thought I need to at least wear them. This one has a very similar base where it is not a stark white. So there it is in the first coat. You could see the holographic sparkle. This one is really, really pretty, but they're not super stark white, and that kind of has me leaning towards, do I keep both of these or not? I love the stark white bases of some of these other ones, so I'm not sure. I want to try these out first, but I may end up passing these on. They're definitely not that stark white that I thought they were going to be, as are some of these other ones. I do know that Rogue Lacquer's white Crellies are generally not stark white. I don't know if you have noticed that with their brand, but when she does white Crellies, they're not stark white bases. They have a muted base to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll see. I have lots of Rogue to talk about, which you'll see in the next installment. So let's finish this up. So the next one is a polish I got a backup of recently. This is Noodles nail polish, Dunkie Junkie. This is a stark white base with orange to pink to fuchsia glitters, and then there's some holographic sparkle in here as well. I got a backup of this. It was offered during Polish Pickup Rewind, and I knew I had to get a backup because I loved this polish. It's one of my favorites. It's beautiful on the nail. It is nice and opaque. So yes, I did get a backup. But this one will be another one that is stark white. It is that crisp, beautiful white base. So there it is, just in that first coat. This is absolutely beautiful. Another one of my favorites, which is why I made sure to get a backup when I had the opportunity, because it is such a good polish. Pairs beautifully by itself. It pairs beautifully with other polish colors as well. And then lastly is a Rogue Lacquer polish. This one is the Misfits. This was a mystery polish. I have not wore this one yet. So this is kind of like a pastel flaky Crelly polish. This has gold, teal, bronze, rose gold, purple, and blue in here, and even a little bit of like a bright green. So I'm excited to see what this one looks like up against some of these other ones. I feel like this one is definitely not going to scream stark white. Yes, and it doesn't. Her flakies, her white Crellies, end up bleeding over time, and that's what happened with this one. You can see here, it is much more of a taupey base compared to this one here. So that is one thing with Rogue, as I mentioned. Some of her Crellies don't stay white Crellies. The bases end up tinted because of the flakes she uses, and that's kind of what happened here with this one. Now, I do love this. I love the color story with the flakes in here, and I think it is a beautiful polish. However, it's definitely not that crisp white that it should be. I could potentially add some white base to each of these polishes, and I think it'll crisp them up nicely. So I might try that, but that is the Misfits from Rogue Lacquer. So I wanted to go through and show you guys what each of these polishes look like in two coats. So we have the first one here, which is KB Shimmer Spring Theory, Glam Polish, King of the Pumpkin Patch. We have Funfetti from Cupcake Polish. This one is Heart to Heart from ILNP. This is Painted Polish, We Scare Because We Care. And then these two here are the Rogue Lacquer polishes. A Rogue Haunting is this polish. The other one is Bright Sunshine Day from Rogue. We have Dunkie Junkie from Noodles. And then this is the Misfits from Rogue Lacquer, which is a mystery polish. This one's definitely not white. It is not a white Crelly. I pulled it thinking it was a white Crelly. In the bottle, it looks white, but when you put it up against all of these other whites, it definitely does not look white. So I may move that one out of the white Crelly section and put it someplace else, but this is what everything looks like in two coats. They all dry down textured, so I will throw on a good glossy top coat for these. That is what each of those looks like for episode 2 of swatching my Crellies. that wraps up part 2 of my white Crelly polish series. Let me know down below if you have any of these in your collection and if you have worn them or if they are still untried. I have lots to go through in my collection, and really this is giving me that idea of, okay, I want to pull this or I want to pull that one for this manicure or that manicure. So love a good white Crelly. Hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.